replica of the committee report. And I want us to agree how much time we want to spend on this. In my thinking, if there really, the screen is full, contrary to my earlier advice. If we'll have some debates, it's now 3:15. I will allow short debate up to 3:45. Then we can, how much time do you want everybody to take? 3 minutes. Irene Mayaka. Irene Mayaka, I've called you to speak. I see you on the screen. You have 3 minutes. At 3:45, I'll call the mover to reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I hear someone asking me my school. My school is the University of Nairobi, the only university we are there. Honorable Speaker, in regards to this particular bill, the appropriation bill, I want to stand here to just make a few remarks. And Honorable Speaker, I will be very brief because for me, the one area that I really have a concern for is R1017, where we have sought to increase the amount allocated to State House to a whopping 2 billion. And Honorable Speaker, I keenly listened to the Chair of Budget when he was giving us his remarks in support of why it is 2 billion. And I remember him mentioning that the reason for this is that the head of state would like to have more meetings in State House, including building a pavilion. But Honorable Speaker, we are experiencing extraordinary times, which means we need to make extraordinary decisions. And for me, if we must have meetings, then why don't we have online meetings? For example, why can't we have a Zoom meeting where the head of state can have Zoom meetings so that we even save more money? And for me, Honorable Speaker, I feel that this amount of money allocated is a bit too much. And the one area that I really want to support is the area of the diaspora. Diaspora has been allocated an approximate amount of 1 million. And for me, I feel this is an area that needed to have a bit more money allocated to them. And the reason for this is because we have a lot of investments coming from the diaspora people out there, and we need to capacitate and actually have proper infrastructure to make sure that we have actual data of which Kenyans are these that are in the diaspora, how much money are they making, how much taxation is coming through. But if we are allocating very little money towards this infrastructure, then we're not going to get the possible results. Honorable Speaker, as I finish, there's also an allocation for the Deputy President's office. And Honorable Speaker, I listened very carefully when the Deputy President mentioned that he also wants to eat seafood and lobsters in his office. And I'm just wondering, this additional allocation, is it for these lobsters and seafood? Because if we are all making sacrifices and reducing the amounts allocated to each and every area, then we need to make proper sacrifices. It cannot be luxurious sacrifices that you're making. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I think we really need to review the estimates that we've indicated here and have estimates that actually speak to the current economic situation of this country. I thank you.
Justice Kemei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity you've given me, and I'll be very brief. First of all, Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee for a job well done. When I was listening to him, Mr. Speaker, I thought I was listening to the Minister for Finance. And I tried to look around to see whether he was reading from something, and apparently he was speaking from his mind. That is the way to go. But Mr. Speaker, I have 2 points. Number one, the increase for the Ministry of Education is well guided. We must have enough money for our JSS schools because the program that we started the other day, and it must work. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, the increase in the amount of money given to the agricultural sector, and particularly, Mr. Speaker, as I come from the cane growing regions of Western Kenya, the money that will be used to pay arrears for farmers for public-owned mills. That I want to commend the Budget Committee for that decision. Mr. Speaker, I'm a little bit worried about the cane testing units. And I want to find out, Mr. Speaker, of these cane testing units which have been put in various sugar factories in the country really working? We must ask the question because we are giving about 400 million for cane testing units, Mr. Speaker. I want to beseech the chairman of the Appropriations Committee and my chairman in Agriculture to find out whether these cane testing units are working. And finally, Mr. Speaker, he spoke about Kenyatta University. If that is where economists are produced, I'm also an alumni of the University of Wales, the School of English Studies in Cardiff. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Onchoke. Charles Onchoke.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this debate. We are having a supplementary budget, Mr. Speaker, against the backdrop where the country doesn't have a medium-term plan. One wonders how we can manage our economy without a medium-term plan. We are 11 months into the year without a medium-term plan. So the numbers probably we are talking about are flying all over the air. Mr. Speaker, listen to the chairman of budget talk about our economies. It's good to compare ourselves with the other economies. But it only goes as far as to give direction on how we need to manage our economy. The fact that the Federal Reserve has increased the interest rates of the USA for a number of times is not a reason for Kenya not to manage its economy better. Thank you.
Yes.
It's no reason for Kenya not to manage its economy better. We are in a situation where the interest rates are high, and the reason why our shilling is depreciating against the international strong currencies is because our imports are falling short of, our exports are falling short of imports. In other words, we are consuming more imports than exports. Why are our exports falling short of imports? The reason is our main exports like agriculture, tea, coffee, horticulture are falling. Why are they falling? It's because the Kenyan...
Your time is up. KJ. And you are not Nairobi, you are KJ, member for Dagoretti South.
Mr. Speaker, you got that very right. And an alumni of the great Kenyatta University, where I have great company in the plenary. I'm in the company of the greats like the Honorable Chair for Finance, the Honorable Chair for Budget and Appropriation, and many other greats, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I take this opportunity to first congratulate the Budget and Appropriations Committee for burning the midnight oil and delivering this supplementary budget on time. What needs to be spoken, Mr. Speaker, because we can't go into the details in 3 minutes, is the style and manner in which the BAC approached budgeting this year. Mr. Speaker, the involvement of members of parliament, and especially the chairs of committees, was something unprecedented. We have to commend the new style and approach that has been adopted by the Finance Committee that is very inclusive and very considerate of the issues that are coming out from the members. As a member of parliament representing a Nairobi constituency, Mr. Speaker, we do appreciate that in this budget, we have been able to put in 1 billion Kenya shillings, monies that is being transferred into the planning ministry so that it can be appropriated through the CDF so that we can expand our primary schools in this city. Mr. Speaker, the primary schools in Nairobi have come to a state where some of them have been condemned as unfit for human occupation. Some schools that last were attended to in the era of the Nairobi City Commission. Some were attended in the era of the Nairobi City Council. Some were attended in the eras of Mayor Margaret Kenyatta. This is the time, Mr. Speaker, that we get the opportunity to bring up some of these schools up to standard. Mr. Speaker, the investment in the digital space is also commendable, Mr. Speaker, that the digital economy and the ICT sector did get a small boost with an improvement of the monies that have been appropriated to this sector. So, Mr. Speaker, I do call upon members of parliament to take the opportunity and honor the pledges that they made at the Kamkunji that you convened, so that we can have digital innovation hubs in each and every single ward of this country. These digital innovation hubs, Mr. Speaker, are impressive. The few that have already been put up are already converting learners into earners. Young people who are walking into our TVETs, getting the digital literacy skills, getting trained on how to be able to work on online jobs and earning in dollars. Mr. Speaker, I will want to end it here by associating myself with the words of the chair that KU does produce brilliant minds, Mr. Speaker. Dr. Masinde and the other lady who has been supporting this committee are well known to me as extremely brilliant minds. And Mr. Speaker, there is a case to be made for the generational conversation that the people who are running the economy of this country, Mr. Speaker, are of a certain average age. When you look at the chair of budget, look at the chair of finance, look at Daktari and the people who are working, this is a generation that needs to make its mark akin to the generation of the Mwai Kibakis, the Kenneth Matibas, the Martin Shikukus, who are able to bring up a Kenya that was so brilliant in the 60s and the 70s that it was recognized all over. We are seeing a situation where we are bringing up leaders of a new generation that will make this country the envy of the people around this region, in the East African region, the envy of Africa, and the envy of the world. Mr. Speaker, I do appreciate this opportunity to contribute to this motion. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Joseph Oyula.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to also support the supplementary budget. Mr. Speaker, I start by congratulating the chair of the Budget Committee for being very eloquent in his presentation of this supplementary budget. Mr. Speaker, as much as I support the increases and the adjustments that have been made, I would want to ask the Budget Committee to start thinking towards the reduction of there's an increase in the deficit. We should start thinking about the reduction of the deficit. Let us now start looking at a balanced budget. I know it is not something that can be done easily, but let us put our minds of bringing the budget, the deficit down, so that Kenya is also seen to be doing its operations in a more considerate manner. Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I want to thank the budget chair and encourage him to start looking at the reduction of the deficit in the future. Thank you.
Beatrice Kamei. You're on the screen. I see you exclaiming. Are you ready for this?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to first thank the chair of this budget and appropriation and his members for the work well done, and to also appreciate the fact that he went to Kenyatta University. Those are great brains. I also went to the same university. So I'm here to appreciate this budget. Now, when it comes to the side of agriculture, I was trying to look at the tea sector, and I was wondering how much has been added to it, but I am made aware that the side of fertilizers is where the tea farmers will benefit from. for the coffee, 4 billion is good money, and the reforms will support many of our coffee farmers. Kericho, we have coffee, and the farmers had left coffee because the payment was very low. With this increase, I am sure coffee farmers will smile all the way to the bank. But I feel more money should have been allocated, Honorable Speaker, to tea farming. Milk, Honorable Speaker, the new KCC, having been added 1.5p, is very, very important. And I know many of our farmers will benefit from that, small and large-scale farmers. For the education sector to have 70 billion is a great achievement. We are investing for today and tomorrow. And I appreciate this committee for that, Honorable Speaker. Not to forget that the money allocated to affirmative action, which is more on the sanitary towels, will be a plus now that it is domiciled not in the side of Ministry of Education, but in affirmative ministry, gender ministry. I appreciate that, Honorable Speaker. So with that, I say this is good, but I believe when it comes to implementation, it will be done to the later, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much.
Zamzam.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi niweze kutoa sauti yangu katika makadirio ambayo yameletwa hapa bungeni ya nyongeza. Niweze kusema kuwa naunga mkono ambayo imeongezwa katika elimu, katika mambo ya usalama, mambo ya afya na mambo ya ukulima, kwa sababu ukulima ndio uti wa mgongo wa taifa hili, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na kama ilivyo hali yetu imekuwa tata katika taifa hili, uchumi umekuwa mbaya, upande wa wakulima wakiongezewa itaongeza uzalishaji na ile economy itapanda juu, uchumi utakuja juu, na imani baadaye rais wetu aweza kupunguza sasa zile task ambazo zimekuwa zikitujia kila wakati, Mheshimiwa Spika. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, pia lazima niangalie upande mwingine, nikiangalia ile bajeti ambayo umeongezwa katika Ikulu na ile ambayo imeongezwa katika naibu wa rais, Mheshimiwa Spika. Naona hiyo kidogo ingewachwa mahali ilipo, kwa sababu mwanzo ilivyowekwa kwanza kulikuwa na utata, Mheshimiwa Spika. Wakipunguza lakini pia waweze kuongezea huku kwenye afya, kwenye ukulima, kwenye usalama na kwenye elimu, Mheshimiwa Spika, itagusa nyoyo za wananchi wengi na itaweza kumpa hata umaarufu zaidi katika uongozi wake, itaweza kutuliza nyoyo za Wakenya ambao wanahangaika kwa wakati huu, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo upande wa bajeti mimi naweza kusupport katika sehemu hizi 4 ambayo ni ukulima, usalama, elimu na mambo ya education. Lakini upande wa State House, Mheshimiwa Spika, samahani, mimi kama mama county naona pale ibaki vile ilivyo. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Thank you. Ferdinand Wanyonyi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me a chance to add my voice on this supplementary budget. First and foremost, I want to thank the the chairman, for at least allocating resources to areas that actually are need. I particularly, Mr. Speaker, and I've asked him, and he's just told me, confirmed that agriculture today is a shame that Kenya, being a country on a tropical area, is actually a net importer of food in this country. Something that we must take it very seriously. I want to find out how much money has been given to agriculture, because, Mr. Speaker, we are embarrassing ourselves. How do we import food? How do we import maize in this country? It's because I think we have not taken it very seriously, but I hope the supplementary budget, and I want to look at the figures, that we actually be able to have more money put in agriculture, get irrigation equipment in these areas that actually need irrigation. I can be able to buy some equipment so that during the dry season, we can be able to irrigate areas to be able to produce enough land, enough food for this country. I want to agree that he has put some money, but whether it's enough or not, I think is something that we want to sit, and I've just talked to my chairman here, we have to sit down and look at it and be able to see if we can get enough money to be appropriated into agricultural sector of this country. It's a shame that we import food. Now Kenya is a net importer of the food, which is not something, Mr. Speaker, that is very embarrassing. With those few remarks, I support the supplementary budget, and I hope the chairman will look at it critically to be able to look at that and be able to see what he can do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ferdinand. Bowen.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support the supplementary budget. And congratulate my good friend, Honorable Ndindi Nyoro. You know, he's bragging about Kenyatta University. At the time, during our time, the Kenyatta University was a school of arts and education. It was a college of education and arts. Mr. Speaker, the Jomo Kenyatta University, and we are many of us here from JKUAT. We are many. So, Honorable Speaker, let me support this appropriation bill and commend the committee of Ndindi Nyoro for the good job. Mr. Speaker, the only issue I have, especially as a chair of Blue Economy and Water, Mr. Speaker, if you check the northern Kenya and the coastal region, Honorable Speaker, which is very bad, partly affected by the floods. Mr. Speaker, those regions, as we speak, there is no even drinking water. And if you see from the budget which the Honorable Ndindi has just tabled here, there is very little as located to those regions to address the issues of El Nino and the floods. Mr. Speaker, I appeared before the committee to present the case of these regions, and I don't know how much the Honorable Chair has given, because, Mr. Speaker, these are people currently, they are not even asking, they are not talking about coffee, they are not talking about maize, they are not talking about fertilizers, they are talking about livelihood, drinking water for them and their livestock. Mr. Speaker, many of us who are pastoralists, I'm talking on behalf of the pastoralists now, Mr. Speaker. In this budget, Mr. Speaker, we have seen there is a significant amount of money allocated for coffee, for tea, which we have not even seen. I thought initially, Mr. Speaker, tea was supposed to be like fruits because I had not seen a tea tree. So, Mr. Speaker, I want when we do a budget, we do a balanced budget for the entire country to make sure that every Kenyan, Mr. Speaker, because all of us, we are taxpayers, we make sure that there is a balanced budget which touches across the economy of this country, including us, the pastoralists. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of security, Mr. Speaker, last week, Mr. Speaker, we approved our men in uniform to go to 80. And Mr. Speaker, if you come to regions like Kerio Valley, where I come from, the northern Kenya, the Turkana, that side, there is no security. So I was seeking that in this budget, the Honorable Ndindi Nyoro's committee and also Treasury allocate enough money to address the issue of insecurity in northern part of the country and also the Rift Valley. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, from the budget I've seen from the Honorable Chair, it's generally a good budget, and I support, but I'm only telling the Chair next time when we are going to supplementary 3 or supplementary 2, they reach the parts of Kenya which he has forgotten in his budget now, he makes sure that it is addressed properly. And as we proceed, Honorable Speaker, also to approve this appropriation bill, the supplementary one which we passed in this House, We have not seen the exchequer. We have not seen. There are projects at that time when it was approved. Many government agencies went to advertise projects, and some contractors went to do some work. But that exchequer has not been released up to now, and we are talking again, passing supplementary 2. Honorable Dini Nyoro, go back to Treasury and speak well your economics. I had minus X, minus M, which you talked here. We don't want the minus X. We want to see the real figures in people's, yes, the real money in Kenyan pockets.
Karole Omondi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'm actually waiting for the next order, if it could be expedited. Thank you.
Now you are falling victim of my direction. If you are not speaking to the order on the floor, try as much as you can to get yourself off the screen so that we can be able to. Atandi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I support the motion as presented by my able chairman. Honorable Speaker, in this supplementary budget, the House has allocated sufficient resources to the security agencies, Department of Defense, NIS, and the general security of the country. Honorable Speaker, my prayer is that after this bill is passed, that the relevant agencies will do their best to address the question of insecurity in the country. Honorable Speaker, the criminal gangs are running amok in this country. Honorable Speaker, yesterday, criminal gangs in my constituency attacked police officers who were guarding exams, and they were able to kill one police officer and injured another one, something which this House needs to take note of, and the security agencies have no excuse from today, after this budget is passed, not to be able to address insecurity challenges across the country. Honorable Speaker, I support.
Thank you. Maklap.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, first of all, I rise to support the Honorable Chair for budget on this S1, supplementary 1. Mr. Speaker, I have listened carefully, and I've also gone through the budget, the supplementary 1, that 1.8 or thereafter billion was allocated for compensation of farmers or payment of farmers that were not able to, the state-owned sugar factories were not able to pay them. Mr. Speaker, I support the payment of farmers because they are suffering and they supply their gain. But the problem, Mr. Speaker, is we have actually sanitized corruption. What about the people who stole that money that the government is paying now? What has happened to them so that they can be able to replenish? Because other taxpayers are now contributing to the mess of some individuals who ran down those factories and made away with that money. What action are we going to do so that as majority of us of Kenyans who are not sugarcane farmers are actually contributing to sort out a mess of individuals who are now scot-free? Mr. Speaker, I support the payment of farmers. Coffee, 4 billion to support coffee farmers. I have not seen something of tea. I have not seen something to support restocking of pastoralists, because now El Nino is when pastoralists will be able to raise a number of livestock that have been lost through drought and rain. Mr. Speaker, where is something for us? Those of us who come from the pastoral economy, who want to do now restocking, because we lost the majority of our animals in drought and in banditry, Mr. Speaker. We need this country to be equal. We need fairness in Kenya. As we do coffee in those places that grow coffee, we sort out farmers in those places they grow sugar. We also need to sort out farmers who grow tea. We need to sort out farmers who actually raise livestock. 3 billion for security, for modernization of security. But, Mr. Speaker, that modernization of security should not just be the police. That modernization must also go to the NBRs of Kenya, who are actually cutting community interests and their lives, Mr. Speaker. Modernization of NBR is required so that they have the right care and the right weapons to be able to combat with crime that has already exceeded police force, Mr. Speaker. And finally, Mr. Speaker,
your time is up.
Mr. Speaker, just one. Mr. Speaker, I agree that going forward in this country, we need a balanced budget. A balance. During Nyachai's time, I was not in Parliament. There was a time Nyachai brought in a balanced budget, revenue equal to expenditure. Mr. Speaker, during Kibaki's time, we financed our budget at a deficit of only 5%. Going forward, so that we don't sort out a problem caused by Bretton Woods institutions like World Bank and IMF, we need to move forward and swallow the bill and do a balanced budget that will be able to sort Kenya, and we don't go to the crisis of debt repayment and even increasing supplementary because of things that we don't have control as a nation. So, Speaker, I rise to support.
Mover.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and I want to take very little time in replying. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank all the members who have said something about this supplementary budget, and it's important that I mention so that I also reply to their concerns. Number one, on Honorable Irene on State House. Honorable Speaker, I explained that in the second reading of the report, and the fact of the matter is that State House had not been given enough money in the main budget, and we did that consciously because there were more pressing needs. So we are just reinstating the budget. Secondly, on diaspora, the 1 million shillings is an addition. You know, Honorable Speaker, this was a budget to cut. So they should actually be very happy that there is an addition. We have already added more money to education. It was actually the highest gainer after the payment of interest rates. On Honorable Nchoke, I agree on the issue of interest rates and Forex, that on Nairobi schools, as was highlighted by the chair of ICT, Honorable KJ, there was a clear need, specifically because land in Nairobi is very expensive. Well, we are expending our CDF monies in the other areas. The land we may purchase to build a school is relatively cheaper when you are not in Nairobi. And that is why Nairobi was considered, so that we have a semblance of equity also in our city. Many times you see the city of Nairobi, we see good roads, but there are very many informal areas and Kenyans who need our assistance. Honorable Speaker, I want to commend also Honorable Beatrice Kemei on the issue of milk. We have actually added more money to new KCC because we need them to mop out or to mop up much more milk, and especially as Kenyans know, when it rains, we have more production of milk. And what happens is that the prices fall. This money is to mitigate that drastic fall in milk prices and as far as the farmers are concerned. Honorable Speaker, there is an issue that has been raised by many members on whether there is actually money for flood mitigation. Honorable Speaker, in the Department of ASALs, there is around 6 billion Kenya shillings we put for emergency. In fact, this money is donor-funded money. So what we do is that the government of Kenya allocates exchequer money or domestic monies, and then every shilling we spend, we get reimbursement from World Bank. So when it comes to flood mitigation and assisting Kenyans who are victims of floods, there is sufficient money, Honorable Speaker, that we have put in this supplementary budget. Honorable Zamzam, thank you very much. The money for security is there. Honorable Ferdinand Wanyonyi, and the chair for agriculture is here, he can confirm, Honorable Mutunga, that this supplementary budget, the third gainer is actually agriculture. Agriculture in all respects. In terms of inputs, Honorable Mutunga has been a very good chair of that committee.
Order. What is the point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is the chair for budget in order to mislead the House by telling us that money has been allocated for El Nino and other disasters, when in the book we can see only money for capital expenditure, nothing for disaster. So where is he reading from? Whatever he's saying. We know that 22 counties are affected by disasters. So he should not speak to himself. He should speak to the House on what is table on the floor, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Chairman, wind up.
Honorable Speaker, I want to request my brother, Honorable Sani, that with very much due respect, because he's a very, very important member of this House, I could pinpoint to him where the money is after this. There is Kenya shillings, 6 billion shillings for emergency. And you know, such a matter is not a matter to come to and talk before this House and before these honorable members on issues that are not there. It is so important a matter that no one should play politics with. So there is money that the government of Kenya has already provisioned for disaster management. And as I said before, there is monies expressly to be spent from the domestic sources, but there is also money for donor funding, Honorable Speaker, and that money is there and intact. Honorable Speaker, I want to agree with Honorable Ferdinand that agriculture is very important. And Honorable Mutonga, who is a very, very good chair of that committee, can confirm that he was actually smiling all the way in our committee. When the other chairs came, wailing because of the cuts, Honorable Mutonga was one of the gainers in the Committee for Agriculture. And we have done money or allocated into inputs, into value chains, and also all the way into post-harvest management. I want to also agree with Honorable Bowen Kagongo on all respects. Equity. Honorable Chair, Honorable Speaker, there is money for coffee farmers. There is money for tea farmers, because agriculture money or fertilizer money also incorporates tea farmers. There is money for cashew nuts. There is money for new KCC, majorly taking care of the pastoralists and the dairy farmers. So the entire Kenyan map is actually in this supplementary budget. Honorable Speaker, also, in terms of security, we have added 6.3 billion Kenya shillings into police modernization, and that money will go a long way into assisting areas that are facing challenges. I also want to agree with my brother, Honorable Atandi, who is a very committed member of the Budget Committee, and as you saw, Honorable Speaker, also, he's doing very well in Alega Usoga, because he's among the best performing MPs also in Kenya. And all the issues he spoke about around security, we have already allocated monies so that our country can be secure. Honorable Makilap, I want I think I've already answered most of it in terms of emergency and restocking.
For cases, what is the problem?
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. With due respect to my senior brother, Chair for Budget, he has enlisted monies meant for agriculture and listing critical areas, that is coffee, tea, milk. But being the House of Record, Mr. Speaker, it would be very important that the farmers who are doing maize at the moment should also get to know what is the provision for maize, because we are at the harvesting period, and being the House of Record should also be mentioned. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, I had already mentioned about maize farmers, but because the Honorable Member for Keses shares the same name with the President of Kenya, I will repeat that we have 8.25 billion Kenya shillings monies for fertilizer subsidy. Most of these monies is for maize farmers. Secondly, there is money for post-harvest management. In fact, part of the items that were already passed under Article 223 are monies that went into the purchase of dryers. Number 3, Honorable Speaker, we have put some money for arrears of farmers who never got paid by NCPB in previous years. And Honorable Speaker, and I hope now Honorable Ruto is now satisfied. We have also put money for NCPB to mop up
so
money.
He's cheering what you are saying. He's satisfied. Wind up.
I am winding up, Honorable Chair. We have also put money into NCPB for them to buy excess maize from our farmers so that we can have a granary that is full as a nation. With those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I wish to reply.
Honorable members, I now propose the question, no, put the question rather, that the supplementary appropriation number 3 bill, National Assembly Bill number 71 of 2023, be now read a second time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to authorize the issue of certain sums of money out of the consolidated fund and the application towards the service for the year ending on 30th June 2024, and to appropriate those sums for certain public services and purposes. Order number 11, Committee of the Whole House.
Order, honorable members, may you be upstanding.
Honorable members, you may be seated. We can begin. Honorable Kangogo, what is your point of order? Even before we begin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. While the Honorable Substantive Speaker, Honorable Chair, when the Substantive Speaker was upstanding, Honorable Chair and many members of this House were upstanding. The two honorable members, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Naisula Lesuda and the Honorable Sarah Korere. Honorable Speaker, they were just seated when the substantive speaker was on his feet. And Madam Speaker, I want to ask if the two honorable members are in order, that they were seated when all of us together with the substantive speaker were on our feet.
Honorable Naisuda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We actually stood, and I think it's about time Honorable Kangogo checked the prescription of his glasses, because maybe, honestly, we stood, Madam Chair. Yeah, he needs to go and get his glasses checked.
Honorable Kemei.
Chair, Honorable Chair, I must confess that Honorable Kangogo was just appreciating the way Honorable Member was just stood is looking very beautiful and very smart, and he just wanted to have that attention. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I see that was said in jest. Let us proceed. We are now in the Committee of the Whole House to consider the Supplementary Appropriation Bill number 3, National Assembly Bill number 71 of 2023. I now call the House to order.
Clause 3, 4, 5, and 6.
I now propose the question because there are no amendments. I propose the question that clause 3, 4, 5, and 6 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 3, 4, and 5, and 6 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
First schedule.
Please hold the paper. I propose the question that the schedule be the schedule of the bill. Mover to move the amendment? Yes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I wish to move that the first schedule be amended by inserting the following new votes and their corresponding details after vote R2031. I'll just read the votes and members can interact with the content in the circulated amendment sheets. That is R2041, an additional 6 billion, R20, 6 million only, R20, sorry, Honorable Chair, let me repeat, R2041, 6 million shillings, R2042, 160 million, R2043, 60 million, and R2044, 44 million, Honorable Chair, and that the second schedule be amended in vote R2051 by deleting the expression.
Honorable Chair, just let's stick to Schedule 1 first. Let's finish with the first schedule. Have you finished with the first schedule? The proposed amendments to the first schedule. Then once we've dispensed to that, then you can move to the second schedule. Have you completed the first schedule?
Not yet. There are two types. Yeah. Honorable Chair, I'm actually on it. There are two sheets of amendments for first schedule. That is the reason.
Okay.
There is one pager and there is a two pager.
Okay.
So I was reading the one pager.
Okay.
Yes,
Proceed.
then I go to the second pager.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
So in continuation, yes, first schedule, yes, I agree. Then on the same, there is another amendment on the first schedule, that the first schedule to the bill be amended, one, in vote D1017 by deleting figure Kenya shillings for 81 million in column 3, that is apply at a program 070400, State House Affairs, and substituting therefore the figure Kenya shillings 381 million. But Honorable Chair, because it's allowed in this House, I would say as it appears in the distributed amendment sheets that members can actually interact with, Honorable Chair.
Okay, I'll let you answer, but you can move all of them. The D10, F17, D10, 24, all of them. And then, because they're all similar. Okay, let me get your point of order, Honorable Makali.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, you know, we are the chair referring to some sheets which have been circulated. We've not seen them. I don't know whether is anyone who asked them or they need to be given to the members.
Sergeant at Arms, I think I'd seen you distributing them. Could you distribute them? Yes, you can proceed. It's coming to you, Honorable Makali.
Thank you, Member. Sorry, I actually thought they are already distributed, but they'll be coming. But just to say, majority of these amendments are actually cleanups, but let me continue to read. That the first schedule to the bill be amended in vote D1017, 2 in vote D1024, 3 in vote D1026, 4 in vote D1066, 5 in vote D1072, 6 in vote D 1134, and 7 by effecting the consequential amendments thereof. And just to explain to members, Honorable Chair, what we are trying to do here, there were some amendments under the security docket, which they are rearranging money within their own areas. That is the first part, that is 1, 2, and 3. On the other areas, Honorable Chair, it is the monies meant for Nairobi infrastructure, which were not well captured during the during the report time, Honorable Chair. And then what we are actually doing is clean up so that we can have this money instituted under the Department of Planning, which now holds NGCDF. On the last part, it was just pure cleanup, Honorable Chair.
I now put the question that the schedule be amended as proposed. Will as many as of that opinion? So we just put the question. Okay. Let me repeat that. I now put the question that the schedule be amended as proposed. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that the schedule as amended be the schedule of the in respect of the votes D 1017, D 1024, D 1026, D 1056, D 1066, D 1072, D 1134, D 2041, D 2042, D 2043, and D 2044. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Second schedule.
I now propose the question that the schedule be the schedule of the bill. Mover to move the amendment?
On the
second schedule.
Yes, on the same, Honorable Chair, it is on the two kinds of papers. So I'll start with the first one, that the second schedule be amended in vote R2051 by deleting the expression 150 million appearing in the third column at the program 0619000 General Administration, Planning and Support Services. Honorable Chair, on the other one, that the second schedule to the bill be amended, A, in vote R1032, B, in vote R1071, C, in vote R1193, D, in vote D1071, by 2 in vote D1071, there are two amendments there. E, in vote D1091, F, in vote D1135, and G, by effecting the consequential amendments thereof. Honorable Chair, if you check on the other one on Schedule 1, there is a corresponding element on this other schedule, because basically, when you see on this side, the Department for Planning, it is thus speaking to the other one for the Department of MOE, where we were getting the monies for Nairobi, and the others, Honorable Chair, are just general cleanups. And cleanup here meaning, Honorable Chair, when we do any kind of an engagement, like we had last week, because human is to, we cannot be perfect 100%, there is usually this kind of a situation where maybe a vote was placed in the wrong place, and then we clean it up at this stage, Honorable Chair.
Any member wants to? Yes, Okay, let me propose and I'll give you a chance. Yeah. I propose the question that the schedule be amended as proposed. You proceed, Honorable Makali.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I want to thank the Chair that I have now this document. And I just want to go on record that, Madam Chair, despite the fact that we are moving figures, I think some of these figures seem to be too huge to be just allowed to be amended at this level. For example, if you look at the C, Madam Chair, we are deleting a figure of 4 billion and substituting with a figure of 29 billion. Just a figure of 4 billion, and you're substituting by a figure of 29 billion. Madam Chair, I think with what happened with the control of budget, Madam Chair, and this is a matter I wanted to raise when we were debating the act, because I thought it was important. I didn't get a chance. Madam Chair, you know, as a house, we have to be very careful. I'm a budget expert. And I'm telling you, Madam Chair, the reason why we are being taken for granted and being found to be not prepared for oversight is because of the thing called program budgeting. I'm sure we have doctors there, but this house is not being given the chance to go to the itemized budget because of that shift, and things are getting us not prepared. You saw the other day the control budget saying, Madam Chair, that we have budgeted our own salary 3 times, and as a house we approved. I think, Madam Chair, even though we want to support, I'm a member of the budget committee, but I think time has come when we must, some of these figures, to me, they look too huge just to be led to go at this level. Because I thought personally they should have come to the committee for debate and possibly a bit of detailed debate, Madam Chair. Otherwise, we will still be caught again unawares as a house, where these issues will go out to the public there, and members of public will start asking us, what are we doing as a budget-making house? Because I think, for me, I have no problem, but I think this figure is too huge for that change, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Honorable Member for Tindiret, Honorable Meli, then I'll come to you, Honorable CPA Ruto.
Chair, thank you. I want to commend the Budget and Appropriation Committee Chair for actually trying to do a proper cleanup. And I want to bring the attention of the members, and I think the members are quite keen on this particular budget-making process on the Committee of Supply, especially on the issue of taking money to the NGCDF, especially on Nairobi County, the schools, the various matching funds to schools. But I also want to urge the Chair that let this money be released on time. As we proceed for recess, that the money be released on time so that members can now go to the ground and actually patronize, especially the construction of schools, so that we are ready for the new year and the students in grade 8 and so forth. But as Honorable Member has put it, the cleanup is normal. I think it is also good so that every other document that goes to the public is quite balanced and the figures are adding up. I thank you.
Hello, Member for Butere, Honorable Tindi Mwale.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
If you're interested in contributing. Yes. Oh, sorry, it was Honorable, let CPA go first. Honorable Tindi, you'll come after him. I forgot that I told him he'll have an opportunity. You're after him. Proceed.
Thank you so much, Chair. I would also want to comment on the good work done by Chair, Budget and Appropriation, but also to note on these matters of cleanup exercise being left out after budget to be corrected. I think, Madam Chair, there is something need to be done, especially Treasury, who are the main guiders on the budget-making process. And being aware most of the systems we are using are automated, we either have ensure that we have officers who are well trained to manage the aspect of budget. Because this cleanup, Madam Speaker, might facilitate other hidden agenda where people end up using budget, misusing the budget, and then awaiting the moment of supplementary budget to come and do the cleanup. This one is something that we have to ensure we have proper guidance and strict measures on the officers who are doing this, because budget it's a process. It's a process from the start up to conclusion. By the time the main budget was concluded, all the programs were distinct, codes are there, they're existing, only for that to be undertaken later and cleaner process. Madam Speaker, you will believe with me, some sinister could also come with it. So I think we have to be very stern on this one. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Mwale, you may proceed.
Asante Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, pia mimi nasimama kupongeza mwenyekiti kwa kuleta hiyo marekebisho, na vile ameshaeleza na alikuwa ameeleza mara ya kwanza akianzisha hii mjadala, amesisitiza na ametueleza umuhimu wa kufanya haya marekebisho. Lakini ile nataka niunge yeye mkono na nimuulize na niunge mwenzangu wa Tinderet ni ya kwamba hakikishe hii pesa imekuja kwa haraka mno, ili wabunge na Wakenya na serikali kwa ujumla ianze kuzingatia vile Wakenya wataishi maisha mema, kwa sababu Madam Speaker, vile unajua serikali ya Mheshimiwa William Ruto iliomba kura ikiongea maneno ya mama mboga na vijana wa bodaboda. Hii bajeti mwenyekiti ambaye ni tuna jina moja na yeye Honorable Ndindi hajafafanua vizuri ni mbinu gani serikali inaenda kuimarisha maisha ya mama mboga na bodaboda. Kwa hivyo ndugu yangu mwenyekiti, bajeti ambayo itakuja huko mbele, ningeomba wewe uzingatie mama mboga na bodaboda ili serikali ifanye kazi vile ilieleza wananchi. Asanteni sana.
The Honorable Member for Nyeri County, Honorable Rehab Mokami. Please give her the mic.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I rise to support the share budget. I'm a member of Budget Committee, and I really appreciate the good work the committee has done, my colleagues. And Honorable Chair, considering the work we had, I really feel honored that we have only a few things to do cleanup, considering the work we had. So I support the chair, and I support the cleanup which was done in Kasha and Heritage, because we really need to build our Kasha. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
The Honorable Member for Garissa Township, Honorable Deco Balo.
Madam Speaker, I was not to contribute on this particular issue. Thank you.
Yes, you had pressed the intervention button. The Honorable Member for Mombasa County, Honorable Zamzam Chimba.
Yeah, Mheshimiwa Spika, licha ya kuwa nampigia upatu katika bajeti yake kufuatana na mambo ya ukulima na mambo mengine, lakini nimeangalia nikapata katika ukanda wa Pwani mmea wetu ambao ni korosho na nazi, na kisha ile dongo kundu ambayo ilikuwa makadirio yake ilikuwa watupe 20% katika dongo kundu, haijaandikwa pale, tulipewa only 1%. Na kisha katika korosho na nazi ambao ndio mmea ambao unahitajika sehemu nyingi, na miwa, hata miwa nimeona juzi Amerika wanatamani sana kuweza kuchukua miwa kutoka Pwani na kule Western, hajaweka. Kwa hiyo namuomba chairman wa budget ambao umesoma Kenyatta University, kwa hisani yako, Pwani mlikuja mkaomba kura, tunawapenda sana, najua mtakuja tena, lakini tuwekeeni na sisi pia ukulima wetu katika bajeti yako. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Chair.
Member for Dagoretti, Honorable Beatrice Elachi. I think you're the last one.
Thank you, Chair. I also want to rise to support our chairman for the work he has done for this country, but to also just put a caution, Madam Chair, as my leader just questioned, that 4 billion to 29. I think as a House, yes, we will approve, but it is very important for us to follow up to get to know what type of oil. Are we now going to do exploration of gas again? Is that why we are giving in this money? Something just to let the House to be comfortable that indeed we moved 4 billion and we gave in 29 billion. That would be very critical, Madam Chair.
Okay, honorable members, I now put the question that the schedule be amended as proposed. Oh, you need to reply, yes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I wish to reply to those issues because they are very important. One from Honorable Makali Mulu, and it's the same issue with Honorable Beatrice Elachi. The issue of the movement of 4 billion to 29 is in respect to monies we anticipate to have a surplus from railway development levy. These monies had been, we can call it advanced from the fuel stabilization fund. So this money is going back to its rightful place, because when you fuel your vehicle, the monies that goes into that kitty had been borrowed previously. And all that we are doing is to have this money go back to where it should be. And therefore it is around railway development levy and fuel levy also. Secondly, on Honorable Meli, and exactly the same issue has been raised by the Honorable T.D. Mwale. The issue of exchequer. I agree with all the members here that actually the new budgeting in Kenya is not the one we are doing today. The new budgeting is something called exchequer. Because you could come here and pass everything, but then the release of the real money is dependent on the availability of that money. So the issue of liquidity has been a huge handicap in the budget implementation process. And what we are doing is to push on KRA to have revenue-raising measures, not just punitive ones, but the ones that increases money. That is the revenue, maximizing tax rate and area. And they are already doing that. We have seen a lot of improvement in terms of the taxes for the last month, and we hope Kenya will be able to be liquid enough to implement the budget in time. So I agree on that issue. On the issue, again, on T.D. Mwale, Honorable T.D. Mwale, where is about the hustler. And I agree and commend my brother T.D. Mwale, because he is now speaking the good language of hustlers. When we talk about agriculture, this money is going to the hustlers of Butere and all the entire Kenya in terms of giving them subsidized fertilizer. When you talk about capacitating JSS, it is monies for the children of the hustlers. When you talk about monies for higher education, it is majorly going into the children of hustlers, 45,000 of whom will actually be getting full scholarship from the government of Kenya. They will not be paying any school fees. Secondly, the issue by Honorable Ruto on cleanup. Cleanup does not necessarily come from the National Treasury. Cleanup, what I'm calling cleanup, is not, it's not a mistake. Cleanup means an MDA, a ministry or a department or an agency or a saga, being given monies by the government, may realize that probably the monies for recurrent can be substituted with the money for development. So what am I trying to say? Within the same MDA, they may realize after the budget cuts or increment, they may need to rearrange the resources within their vote. So cleanup does not mean there is a mistake that has been made. There has never been a mistake made for the entire budget cycles that we have had. For example, this was a request on the MDA immigration. They are moving money within themselves. On the lastly, on Abu Zamzam, if actually you check the main budget, you realize that cost, the entire cost, all the 6 counties, they have actually been taken care of massively in the budget. However, what we read here being the supplementary are only the variations. So actually when you don't see your county here, you should celebrate, because it means monies were not deducted from the programs within your county. So this book, the reason why it is very small, it only shows variations from the main budget. However, the main budget is still in force. And this is only coming to amend a few things. So cost, when you look about infrastructure, about cashew nuts, about everything else around coast, even Coast Development Authority, Coast Water, all those agencies, Dogo Kudu, you look at Bura Irrigation Scheme, all those, Honorable Zamzam, we have taken very good care of the people of Coast because we value what they do and also being the corridor that actually brings a lot of commodities in our country. And lastly, Honorable Elachi, I think I've answered the issue of the 4 to 29 billion. It was majorly around RDL and also stabilization. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Okay, honorable members, I now put the question that the schedule be amended as proposed. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. And now, honorable members, I now put the question that the schedule as amended be the schedule of the bill in respect of the following votes. Vote R 1032, vote R 2071, vote 1193, R 1193, vote D 1071, vote D 1091, vote D 1135, and vote R 2051. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
I now propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Mover, you can move your amendment.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. And actually, this is the last amendment there is. I wish to move that the bill be amended, that is clause 2, that the bill be amended by deleting clause 2 and substituting, therefore, the following new clause 2. The Treasury may issue out of the sum of 115,874,418,343 shillings out of the consolidated fund and apply it towards the supply granted for the service of the year ending on the 30th June 2024. And therefore, Honorable Chair, this is just now consolidating all the other amendments. This is now the new figure, basically.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed. Honorable member, I think there is no response. So, honorable members, I now put the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Okay, honorable members, I now put the question that clause 2 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Title.
Okay. Honorable members, I now propose the question that the title be part of the bill. Okay. Honorable members, I now put the question that the title be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
I now propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable Chairperson, budget, we can now move the report.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Supplementary Appropriation Bill number 3, National Assembly Bill number 71 of 2023, and its approval thereof with amendments.
Honorable members, I now put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Supplementary Appropriation Bill number 3, National Assembly Bill number 71 of 2023, and its approval thereof with amendments. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Honorable members, Madam Speaker.
Take your seats, honorable members. Take your seats, honorable members. Honorable Chairperson.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the Supplementary Appropriations Bill number 3, National Assembly Bill number 71 of 2023, and approved the same with amendments.
Honorable members, I propose the question. No. Mover.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I also request the Chairman for Agriculture, Honorable Dr. Mutonga Kanyuithia, to second the motion for agreement with the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable Speaker, I rise to second the motion in view of the fact that, Honorable Speaker, we have realized finally that Kenya is moving in the right direction. We are focusing on agriculture, which is our mainstay and where the greater population is anchored. Honorable Speaker, the more we put money in agriculture, the more we support the common man and the greater percentage of Kenyans in this country. Honorable Speaker, I second.
Honorable members, I therefore propose the question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I therefore put the question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Mover. Mover to move third reading. Mover to move third reading.
Thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Supplementary Appropriation Bill, number 3, National Assembly Bill, number 71 of 2023, be read at that time. And before I request the seconder, Honorable Chair, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank all members who have taken part in the debate in regards to this appropriations bill, and also again thank the Budget and Appropriations Committee and our technical team led by the Parliamentary Budget Office, Honorable Chair, most of whom are actually seated here. Thank you very much, Jury, Dr. Abel, Dan, and also Dr. Maside, and also our clerk, Mr. Joroge, and the Speaker of this National Assembly for making it sure that we have the right facilities to be able to discharge our duties. I also want to thank very much the chairs of all departmental committees. Honorable Chair, one thing we do as the Budget Committee, and the chairs can attest, whatever they discuss in the departmental committee, we actually pass it almost entirely, because we ride on the wisdom of all the members of this House. And therefore, as Budget Committee, we cannot be the ones who know most around issues of defense, more than Honorable Major Bashir, for example. We cannot be the people who know more about agriculture than Dr. Mutonga, who is actually a professional and a PhD within that domain, and all the other members. We cannot know, Honorable Speaker, for example, issues around education more than the committee led by the Honorable Member for Tideret, Honorable Meli. And therefore, I want to thank all the departmental chairs. You have been very, very helpful to us as the Budget Committee, and I wish to request that the same collaboration that I wish now to request the member. I also want to thank all the members of this House in entirety, because we always benefit from their wisdom, as I said before. And Honorable Chair, I now wish to request the member in university. He was the treasurer of our student union and the current chair for labor, one of the best youthful leaders in this country, Honorable Eric Musagi Karemba to second.
Before Honorable Eric, the chair, you must be very careful when you use the article there. You can only use that on one university. Honorable Eric.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I wish to thank and commend the work done by the committee, the Budget and Appropriations Committee, led by the chairman and the alumnus of Kenyatta University, the Honorable Dede Nyoro. And I wish to attest to the fact that, Honorable Speaker, that the committee gave us some very good time as the chairs of committees, where we went to discuss the budget, and I wish to thank them for a job well done. This supplementary appropriations bill will ensure that we get money available to execute on the various projects, and we see that they have tried and done a good job to ensure that they have covered all the interest across the country. So that was a very well done job, and I second.
Honorable members, I propose the question, which is that the supplementary appropriation bill number 21 of 2023 be now read a third time. We'll allow a few people.
Report by the Budget and Appropriation Committee. More specifically, the committee has unallocated resources, knowing very well that as committee members, we know what the sector wants.
Members,
this is a third reading. Chair, I want also to commend the chairman of the Budget Committee. But having said that, Chair, you know, we have just appropriated 24 billion shillings in the government levy. It's not supposed to come from the taxes, the consolidated fund. It's not an exchequer vote. So let's call a spade a spade. What we are doing is sort of appropriating. Tell Kenyans that Parliament has passed a subsidy of 24 billion shillings to subsidize diesel, to subsidize petrol, to subsidize kerosene, to subsidize all manner of petroleum products. It is very good. Let us not run away. All countries in the world subsidize for their citizens. Let us not shy away. If Uhuru did it, he was doing it for the benefit of the people of Kenya. He was not doing it for his wife, for his mother, or for his children. So let us agree today as a country, and let us see that the new government has seen the light of the day. The new government has seen that subsidy is the right way.
Chair, I think it's not in order for Honorable Junet to misinform the House. The subsidy when it's not there? Can you read the statement where the subsidy is instead of misinforming the House?
Madam Speaker, the line reads stabilization, but I said very well, stabilization fund is supposed to come from the Petroleum Development Fund. It's not supposed to come from the money we are appropriating here. We have appropriated 24 billion shillings in the wrong line. We have stabilized, we have subsidized fuel with 24 billion shillings. It's good. Don't shy. Don't run away from it. It is going to help the people. It's going to make the cost of living come down. Just see the light, and the glory is back, and Uhuru Kenyatta is back in Kenya. Thank you very much.
Honorable Bashir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I first want to commend the Chair and the members of Budget Committee. I'm aware and fully aware that the Chair and his team of the Budget Committees, and this budget is supposed to help the Kenyans. I know this is number one. Number two is it will be coming shortly. But most importantly is that I want to ask the Chair and his team going forward to ensure that they respect the chairs and members of the other committees that bring the concerns of their departmental and MDS. And I want to commend the Chair. That is very good. On the aspect of the monies that have been appropriated, you know, and I'm sure there will be a debate on the issue of El Nino that is coming up. What is the amount? I don't see a line specific that talks about the response to El Nino. Chair, budget, the rains are causing havoc. I don't see any specific line or statement that talks about the response of the Kenya government on this matter of El Nino and the flooding. And this is a matter of life and death for most of Kenyans. So I really want you to address this matter. Thank you.
Honorable members, remember we have an adjournment motion. Also remember we have discussed these issues in second reading. This is third reading. Honorable Naisula.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also rise to thank the Chair of Budget Committee, a very youthful, dedicated young man, Honorable Ndidi, for how he led the committee, which I also sit in when we were looking at the supplementary budget. I want to say that once we pass this supplementary budget this afternoon, it is important that Treasury then releases the funds to go and do the work that it is supposed to do, and on time. We're going on recess. We want money for NGCDF. We want money for NGAF so that we can go and work during this holiday. Madam Speaker, that is all I wanted. They release the money on time so that we can pay school fees, we can serve our constituents during the long recess, Madam Speaker. Thank you, and I support.
Other members, I have confirmed that the House is properly constituted for purposes of making this decision. The Supplementary Appropriation Bill number 3, National Assembly Bill number 71 of 2023, be now read a third time. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to authorize the issue of certain sums of money out of the consolidated fund and the application towards the service of the year ending on the 30th June 2024, and to appropriate those sums for certain public services.
I beg to move that this House adopts the report 4 of the Treaty Making and Ratification Act 2012, approves the ratification of the 1970 UNESCO Convention in the means of prohibiting and preventing the illicit import, export, and transfer of ownership, arises from the need to safeguard the state parties from the continued loss and illegal transfer of their cultural artifacts. The Convention, therefore, emphasizes the prevention and international cooperation in cultural property ownership, establishes a framework of international cooperation and mutual assistance, and obligates state parties to identify, protect and restitute cultural property stolen or exported illegally. This convention further creates awareness on the need to protect cultural objects against cross-border trafficking. Indeed, the repatriation of illegally acquired cultural property under colonial rule. At present, 100 recommends the enforcement of the protection of cultural property in 3 main pillars, namely preventive measures by providing that states signatory to the convention shall enforce the security and safety of cultural property, such as taking inventory, exportation, certifications, monitoring of trade, and the imposition of penal sanctions. 2, restitution provisions, whereby the state parties are obligated to assist each other in the related public participation, where it received submissions from various stakeholders, all of who are in support of Kenya's engaged various key stakeholders in the considerations of the convention. The committee received submissions from the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage, the Ministry from the Law Society of Kenya, and the Creative Economy Working Group. Honorable Speaker, in its memorandum to the convention, the then Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage noted that although the objectives of the conventions are aligned with the Constitution, there is need to domesticate the convention by amending the National Museum and Heritage Act, the Environmental Management and the Coordination Act, as well as the Copyright Act, so as to give effect to the provisions of the convention. Honorable Speaker, the clarion call by the stakeholders was that the accession to the convention was paramount, as it will lead to the protection of Kenya's natural and cultural heritage, including archaeological sites, wildlife, to antique global market openings. Honorable Speaker, it is worth noting that Article 11 of our Constitution recognizes culture as the foundation of the nation and obligates the state to promote all forms of cultural expressions through our cultural heritage. The accession to the convention will therefore promote the safeguard of direct financial implications imposed by the convention on the government of Kenya. This is because the financial obligations will only arise on a need basis, and in the event that a state party requests for the repatriation of a cultural object from another state party. Honorable Speaker, the committee observed that some of our current legislative party undertakes to develop 2023, which seeks to advance our unique culture as a spur for our well-being and development. The committee, therefore, looks forward to facilitating the consideration and subsequent passing of the law by National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, permit me to conclude by saying that, indeed, the time is ripe for Kenya's accession to the convention. This will lead to the advancement of international cooperation and collaboration between the member states, as well as information sharing and technical support from UNESCO in regards to cultural preservation. Further, the accession to the convention will lead to the promotion of the respect for cultural heritage within our territories. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move.
Member for Nambale.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Culture helps us connect with the past, learn from the history, while also creating a sense of place and community. And perhaps this is the reason why in Article 11, the drafters found it necessary to refer to it as the foundation of a nation. And Madam Speaker, we have had complaints all over about our cultural artifacts being taken. And Madam Speaker, this particular institution, which provides that, which claim our lost cultural artifacts. So I'm very happy that the committee, under the leadership of the Honorable Dani Wanyama, found it necessary to come up with a very good report which I've gone through, that is going to help safeguard our cultural artifacts in this country. So I therefore move to second this particular report. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Of the Departmental Committee on Sports and Culture on its 1970 UNESCO Convention on the means of prohibiting and preventing the illicit import, export, and transfer of
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.